Right, I'm going to talk a bit about scientific redesign, as Peter briefly mentioned in his presentation. I'm from New High Digital, and we're a digital agency a little bit out of the ordinary. So that's our value proposition statement. We're a strategic digital marketing agency who specialise in helping dramatically increase profits for established e-commerce businesses, blah, 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 blah. Basically, we employ scientific and data-driven processes to help e-commerce businesses grow their profits, grow their conversion rates, improve website performance, all that good stuff. 3 key areas we use: data-driven strategy, A/B testing, and traffic optimization. Put all those 3 together and you'll get your guaranteed growth. I thought I'd just introduce myself, a business partner who can't be here tonight, unfortunately. He's on a plane to Lithuania as we speak. But my name's Keith Scott. I've been in the digital industry about 13 years. I'm not a true consultant in the true sense of the word. My specialities are paid traffic, affiliate marketing, and email marketing. But I've spent a lot of time in the industry running and being part of two successful e-commerce businesses. The most recent being was my last job before we started New High as the agency was with LED Hut, and we grew that from a startup to the biggest LED lighting retailer in the UK online inside 4 years, and sold it for 18 million quid in September 2014. So I've got quite a lot of experience in the other side of the fence, if you like, in terms of being part of a successful, fast-growing e-commerce business, and I've actually used a lot of these strategies and methodologies in growing that business to where it was and where we managed to sell it on. The partner is Jamie Hans. He's got a little bit more experience than me, and Jamie's more of a true consultant. He's worked a lot of his career for Conversion Rate Experts, who are a well-renowned conversion agency in the business. He was a senior consultant for them, and he's worked with some serious brands, Amazon, including Lloyds Bank, Halifax, Bank of Scotland, people like that. And his conversion wins, if you look at Lloyds Bank, for example, I think he changed the form around for them, and it was about 13 million quid was the win. And because they've got so much traffic and so much is vested in what they do, the wins are worth a lot of money. More detail on what we do. We employ a proven growth methodology. So Jamie worked for CRE, so we use a lot of that. It's proven with all the big brands. So we can deliver a range of services for clients across the world, actually. The first step is an e-commerce audit. Peter touched on this earlier. We do it slightly differently to a lot of other agencies in terms of how we structure it and what we do. This is a 2-stage process. The first stage really is a sort of quick overview of. We would produce a 20-page report on Google Analytics or whatever their analytics package is, to look at various key aspects of the site to see where we can improve, where the bottlenecks are. And if that audit proves successful and the client wants to move on, we do a much more detailed deep dive audit that takes 2 or 3 months, where we actually go into every aspect of the business. We do detailed customer surveys, detailed traffic analysis, and then we actually speak to people in the business and logistics and customer service. Because one thing that I can relate to from being on that side of the fence is a lot of agencies in our business will go in, we'll double your conversion rate, or we'll do this, we can increase your business by X amount. Not really thinking about the impact that has on the other aspects of that business. So if you double the orders for an e-commerce business, and they haven't got the logistics capabilities to back that up, the warehouse, the supply chain, everything else is a knock-on effect. So the deep dive e-commerce audit spawns a growth roadmap, which we present to the business, and then it's usually a 6-month, 12-month plan where we stage the growth so that we can best appreciate how that's going to go forward with that business, and let them manage that growth as best they can. We have obviously conversion rate optimization service and traffic acquisition optimization. So you could see from Peter's slide before about how the case study was with the mobile in particular. We take that like a step further because the expertise we have is more well-rounded, so we can compound those growth. The conversion, we can increase the conversion rate, drive more traffic at a higher velocity, and compound the growth that the business is going to get. And all those aspects together then combine in the sort of scientific or data-driven website redesign that's sort of the end goal. So let's touch on a couple of aspects to that and go into a little bit more detail. Conversion rate optimization is the easiest way to add profit to your business without additional advertising costs. That's true. And there we go. This is the virtuous circle of CRO, this is called. It really is sort of like common sense. Everybody knows a higher conversion rate means you make more profit on every click you buy. And I mentioned buy because most traffic sources are cost these days. Then this allows you to spend more on traffic, so it results in more traffic to your website. So the higher your conversion rate, the best thing you can do is not sit and count your money, reinvest that money in more traffic. The more traffic your website gets means you can test and learn faster. And then that increases your conversion rate more. And you can increase that conversion rate quicker. And then this is where the snowball starts rolling down the hill. A strategy like this in an e-commerce business in a competitive environment allows the people that do this right have a massive competitive advantage. You can obliterate your competition. We did this with LED Hut. We were able to we had a very aggressive marketing strategy whereby we could bid more for traffic than any of our competitors could. It's just simple. Our ROI was so good, our CPA was so good, that we just blew our competition away. And then you just rinse and repeat, and it just keeps going round and round and round. So the main topic tonight is scientific website redesign. We don't get this very often where we have to do a full website redesign, but we actually are working with Devante at the moment on a Magenta 2 installation actually, and this is where this idea crystallized really in terms of where scientific redesign fits in the Magento migration process. A client will say, I need to redesign the site. My website's crap. But this is a very risky business. We get clients that say this to us a lot. And a conversation I had just before Christmas was with a sporting goods retailer who they're doing £7 million online. Their site I think converts at 1.2%, which is not bad. It could be better, but it's not bad. And they were a couple of months into a website redesign project. They had no testing, no UX, they'd done nothing. They were just thinking, we need to make it more modern. We need to make it look better. But that's a huge risk. It's fraught with danger. You could, it might work. You might increase the conversion rate, but it's not guaranteed. And if you're doing that kind of revenue number, even a small decrease in conversion is it results in a lot of cash. And also, it can affect SEO rankings and leads to decline in traffic. So when you put less traffic together with lower conversion, you get a major downturn in revenue. So this is where the risk lies. Our scientific redesign approach, this data-driven, research-driven approach, alleviates that risk as much as possible. So you've got as smooth a transition as possible, if you like. So what happens if you get it wrong? This is a true story. Some people may know this, some people may not. Marks and Spencer, I think it was a couple of years ago, their website cost 150 million quid. Good work if you can get it. They basically launched a brand new front end. From what I hear, there was very little testing done. I don't know who got sacked. The revenue dropped by 8.1% in the 13 weeks after that was launched, and basically the share price went down, and God knows how much that's cost them. But that's an extreme example, but that shows you the critical business risk that you run if you don't do this properly. So let's look in detail at how it fits into the Magento 2 migration process. I've already been asked this question once tonight. I think the redesign part of it has to start at the beginning. So when a client or whoever has decided that they want to migrate, the scientific redesign process has to start then. And how to get it right? Well, we've been through the process already, so website audit to get your insights, ascertain what's performing well, and then identify areas for improvement. Then you go through the redesign process, and then test, test, test. You have to have this testing culture within the business that you're working with. We try and educate business clients that we work with on this and help them with it. And it's difficult, but once they get it, the culture then sort of is embedded in the business, and they take it forward for themselves. So let's look at, we do mini audits and audits all the time, so we look at a lot of different businesses. We see patterns of areas where there's holes and there's that need improvement. So I've picked, using the data insights from the audit, we can identify and we prioritize the area. So I'm going to look at a couple. We've touched on one already, mobile performance. We see this all the time. Mobile traffic, in most, I would say 80% of the audits we do, mobile traffic is 50-50 with desktop at least, and in most cases more. This is a funny one, and we see this a lot again, browser compatibility and performance. This is actually an easy win, it's low-hanging fruit, but there's a lot of clients that we work with don't have the technical expertise or don't really appreciate that the performance, and I'm not talking about Internet Explorer here, I'm talking about 3 main browsers out there. We see this a lot of times where we've got disparities in performance over different browsers, and there's no reason for it. And the third one that we look at is value proposition. I could stand here for 2 hours and go on about value proposition, but basically it's the USP and how that is communicated on the site. So again, very few e-commerce businesses do this well. The ones that do it well are highly successful. So we're going to look at a little bit of real data. I don't know if you can see that at the back, but I'll go like this. This is real data from an audit we did just before Christmas. It's for a fashion retailer, actually. So mobile performance was one of the key takeaways from this audit. And we actually prioritize it and we look at it in monetary terms, because when we're talking to a business owner or an e-commerce owner of a digital business, if you can actually quantify it and put it in pound notes, what it's worth, then it focuses the mind. So in this example, we've just taken the simple device analysis, mobile, tablet, desktop. Mobile visitors account for over 50% of new website visits to this website, but they're responsible for just 22% of overall revenue. The engagement is chronically bad, and conversion rate is 41% below the website average. So that doesn't, it's actually higher. I mean, the desktop conversion is 1.82% and the mobile conversion is 0.75. So we're not going to go and say, well, we'll increase we can get the conversion up to desktop levels, because that's not going to happen. You'd struggle even to get it up to tablet, where the tablet is at 1.2. But if we stuck 26% on that, say, got it up to 0.95 from 0.75, that's worth £32,000 a month to this business. That's £300,000 a year forever. And that's just a small improvement. And you probably get that. To be fair, this business actually knows that their mobile offering isn't good, and that was one area that they wanted they need help with. But this is one of the key areas where, instead of saying, right, well, if they're on Magento 1, you can incorporate something like this in a re-platform to Magento 2. When the scientific redesign will incorporate a more efficient mobile offering, which will increase the conversion rate, and they'll get more return on that investment from doing a redesign that way. Next one is browser performance. These guys are a jewelry e-tailer, growing very quickly. But I reiterate, this is an extreme example actually, but it illustrates the point pretty well. You can see the top 3 browsers there. Firefox is performing absolutely desperate. The performance is really bad. And the bounce rate is nearly 80%, which is more than double the other 2. So this sticks out like a sore thumb. In reality, if you improve the Firefox conversion to that of Chrome, and there's no real reason why you shouldn't be able to if you did browser testing properly. I think from their point of view, they didn't really understand different browser performance. They were using the online tools that you can get, which aren't great. But they didn't actually realize there was such a disparity. And this digging deeper, they were using a certain marketing tool which was screwing up some of that Firefox conversion, but not all of it. So in reality, that 130 grand a month was probably about 80 grand a month once they've been through the process and fixed it. But that's not a difficult fix. That was £80,000 a month in revenue they increased by fixing that. And under most audits we do, they're a lot closer together, but you do see disparities. So what we do is we'll drill deeper into the browser versions, because you tend to see that it's a different browser. There'll be 1 or 2 of the older browser versions of Chrome, for example, that won't be working too well, so you can alleviate that pretty quickly. And the last one is value proposition. Like I said before, I could go on for ages about this, but we have detailed workshops that we work through with clients to go into all aspects of the business and pull out what we call value statements, which answer this question: why should a visitor buy from your website rather than one of your competitors? And you have to communicate that within the first 10 seconds on the front of your site. It has to be concise, it has to be crafted, and we have a lot of tools that help us do that. And the clients that do this well absolutely kill it. They really do, because people don't go anywhere else. So getting towards the end, so using a scientific data-driven approach during the Magento 2 migration process will reduce overall commercial risk. It's actually an opportunity to improve website performance, and that's the way to sell it in, because it's obviously you're packaging up as 2 for the price of 1. The actual technical aspect is it's more stable, as Peter said. All the benefits of the technical advantages, as well as the actual front end performance with the customer, and it will maximise their return on investment. So the more performance increase that you can put on the front end, the better ROI it is. Therefore, it's easier to sell it, because obviously a Magento re-platform is quite expensive. So I'm going to do a blatant sales pitch here. If you want to get a head start, we've got a half-price mini audit offer. So if anybody, obviously I've talked in quite broad strokes here. I've not got time to go into a lot of detail. So if anyone wants to grab me after and talk in any more, if you've got any questions or anything you want to discuss in more detail with me, I'll be around until the end. So there you go.